What is time now for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. Al, as the month of December rolls on, how are things shaping up for the week ahead?
Well, Bryce, we had a fairly benign week up through the midweek period, and then of course we had the storm system moved across the state on Thursday, brought some freezing drizzle, some lighter snow to northern Nebraska. Just kind of a nuisance type of an event. We did get some moisture out of it, but nothing in the significant nature, just a little travel headaches with the freezing drizzle. More importantly, we are now set up for a fairly significant storm system next week, and we're going to get into that in a second. And it looks like a trend that looks to be pretty well established across the western United States, that we're going to go through a fairly distinct period here over the next few weeks of multiple storm systems moving through the southern United States and ejecting out the Central Plains. So we'll have to pay attention to see whether or not they finally get a good semblance of moisture across the state. And it does appear that the Tuesday storm that we're talking about is going to give us a pretty good dose across most of the state. So if we look at the upper air models, we do have a little quick moving shortwave moving across the northern plains, a little bit of a southern jet to our south. These will merge just to the east of Nebraska. So that's where the vast majority of precipitation will be. We might see a little light precipitation in northeast Nebraska, but nothing in the significant nature. Now, as we go into tomorrow, we're basically going to be looking at regions starting to build into the region and ahead of this big trough coming in the western United States. So we're going to see our temperatures lift up into the lower 40s across the north, and probably the lower to mid 40s across the south. Wouldn't be surprised if we touch the upper 40s in southwest Nebraska. Now, as we get into the day on Monday, the ridge starts to build up a little bit farther to the north, so it's going to bring that warmer air well up into portions of northeastern Nebraska. So we'll be looking at low 50s in the southwest, upper 40s in the southeast, probably the lower to mid 40s across the northeast. Maybe starting to see some cooling temperatures in the northwest where we start to get more cloud cover with this system. And then we start to see it progressing into the southern Rocky Mountains. That's going to bring a big fetch of moisture up from the south. We'll start to see precipitation breaking out in the form of snow across western Nebraska. And more importantly, we're probably going to start to see some thunderstorm and moderate rainfall developing across eastern Nebraska. As we get into the midweek period, that low sits right over top of us. And that's going to bring a big fetch of moisture all the way around this system. Probably looking at some significant snowfall right now, according to the models, in eastern portions of South Dakota, northern Nebraska, and of course the Panhandle. And then depending on how fast the system moves will depend on how long the snow event itself lasts, because by the time we get to Thursday, we see the system slowly sliding into southwestern Nebraska. So we're still going to have a big wraparound effect with this system, but because it's spreading out, we won't see as much significant precipitation, but we will still start to see some accumulating snowfall, particularly across western Nebraska. By the time we get into the late next week, we'll start to see the system moving up toward the Great Lakes, and behind it is another trough that we'll have to be dealing with. So precipitation's chances may increase as we get into late next week. And further out, 8 to 14 day forecast next Thursday. The following Tuesday keeps that cold in place. And in terms of precipitation, another shot of moisture for our region.